Hello and welcome back to the stream. I do apologize for the abrupt ending of the last. Our power went out. Our power went out for the whole street. That's a first on the channel, I think. But we're back. Hopefully the power stays on. We're back for a part 2. I'm just gonna finish this drawing. We're gonna watch the rest of what we were watching before, and there's not a lot of time left, and then we're going to do the giveaway through the wheel. I just want to give everybody ample time to come back. Man, it really sucks. It's, it is what it is. Let's do this. Let's pull this up. I marked the video back a little bit just to make sure that we get the whole thing, just in case somebody was watching it all. I also noticed the volume was a little low, so I am turning it up a tiny bit.
Movie to cast. With the success of Scream 1, suddenly everybody was calling, I want to be in this movie, I want to be in this movie. So we were just cherry picking in a way.
It just had a plethora of people in it. And I mean, it had like 20 recognizable at the time. It's still
again, as always, if you're just joining the channel, what I'm doing is I'm doing a drawing here from start to finish, supposedly start to finish, and then then we're gonna do a giveaway through this wheel here. How you get on the wheel is sub to either Twitch, D-Live or Kick, or be here in chat live when I do the secret word. And there's other ways to win or get more entries on Patreon as well.
And we're gonna have to fly her back and forth, and she was such a big star at the time.
And it's done as an elimination wheel, so we basically will.
We turned our schedule upside
But we're
down.
gonna do some trivia today. It's gonna be fun.
Casting the Stab movie within the Scream movie was actually fun because you really could go much campier, much crazier, and come up with some kind of kooky ideas.
My mom's dead and she's never coming back. Ever.
I share the scene with Tori Spelling. It was the first, big movie that I had done, and I will never forget that scene. This is when I
appreciate you guys coming back. Thank you.
It was so funny because we were sitting there and it got like really quiet, so I just started into my lines, and it's like, Nancy, and I said, yes, and he goes, wait till I say action. I went, oh, okay. I was brand new to the set, I didn't know.
Love Jerry O'Connell. Adorable. Great body, too.
So I had to go to KMB Special Effects House, and they had to give me a fake arm and stuff. Man, when I saw that fake arm, it was really kind of freaky because you're looking at your arm. I mean, and they even put the little hairs in and everything. And they sort of attach it to you, and then I get slashed and blood is shooting out of it, and it's a pretty frightening experience.
This self-induced isolation you got going is not healthy. I'm fine. I'm fine.
I was so stupid in the audition as this girl that's, getting ready to go to college and be with the cool girls. I was just silly. And I ended up booking it, and I couldn't believe I booked it.
Elise was just a hoot to work with. She had a great sense of humor, and we had a lot of fun.
Hi,
I came out W.
new cameraman?
Yeah, you got experience?
Huh? My agent called me.
You know what? W's the, is the symbol for winning, right? So it's not far off, Elizabeth. We're back.
Okay,
That's a win in my book.
So, are you setting me up? Or does this guy what is he? No, it's a good part, Does he die? Well, we don't know.
I took your seminar in Chicago last year. I was the one in the front row asking all the questions.
I remember getting a call about coming in to read for a character named Debbie Salt, and I thought, well, who wouldn't root for Debbie Salt? Come on.
A lot of casting is that got boing. I think that's her.
I didn't model Debbie after anybody, but I knew she was just wound a little tight. Or I remember seeing a lot of blacked out pages in my script. So I thought I might be wearing one of those. And the fact that Debbie was, mom, I thought was pretty brilliant.
Billy was a sick fuck who tried to get away with it. Mickey is a sick fuck who wants to get caught.
He was really intense in that. I remember watching that being like, this is a special scene.
Timothy Olyphant, he definitely did not have a lot of experience back then, but he was so handsome that kind of was what we needed.
I think for him, this was just something fun to do. It was something a little kind of cheeky to do and just not so straightforward. And I think that's why it works for him in that role.
I had to get up and sing that David Cassidy song, I Think I Love You. And I got a copy of it. I put it in my rental car, in Atlanta, and I listened to it whenever I drove, so I really had the song down.
None of us really liked that song. We were like, God, why this song? Why was this song picked as the song that we have to hear all day?
We hadn't even rehearsed it, man. It was sort of like just show up and do it. And I knew going into it, if I didn't commit to that scene, it wasn't gonna happen. I mean, I did the best I could.
Just like you, I'd like to get back on with my own life.
In the second one, there was this thing about Cotton that he was just hungry for celebrity and that he was hungry for media attention. Cotton wanted a piece of it after he'd been wrongly accused, and it seemed like a good engine for a character.
This is powerful, you know, and it's touching on really important stuff in a goofy, zany way, but it's really smart, and it's really talking about something that is part of the core of our culture.
I think the Scream franchise does this great job of taking us through the pop culture and the way that it's been viewed and kind of making fun of the whole celebrity-obsessed world that we live in sometimes.
Jimmy dying and having his opinion about his death, I mean, there was a sadness, you know, and I killed him good, you know. Blood and face, I made it very clear that he was dead.
When I got killed, I was like, okay, well, that'll be a big thing. But then I was like, fuck, I mean, why do I gotta get killed?
These enormous pools of talent, sometimes you have to knock them off.
It was very bloody, and I said it's gotta be horrifically bloody because A, I wanted to go out big, and second of all, I got technical.
Yeah, if you're gonna go out, you might as well go out
artery,
as bloody as possible.
Artery is more blood than you've ever noticed. But like to this day, that's one of like the top two things people ask me in my life. You know, it's like why did you get killed in Scream 2? You know, I don't know. I guess somebody had to go.
I loved him so much. It was, and I have to agree with many of the fans that he would never have backed up against anything without windows. Some part of me, I remember sitting in the theater thinking, no. So I really enjoyed 2, except for that.
My parents were there, and I was like, you guys are gonna come down and watch me get killed. And we did it, and everybody left. It was like the last thing, and they were like, yeah, you're gonna go here and like go to the shower. And I went to like the shower, and there was nobody there. And I'm like, yo, somebody help me with a towel? And I was like, nobody. I took a shower by myself at like sundown in this girls' college, and like the whole crew had just vamoosed. And I was like, I'm like, this is a bad fucking cliche. Like, I'm gonna get fucking killed after my death scene, and that's gonna be my life. And like, I went to the wrong showers basically, but for a moment in time, that was the one creepy moment I had filming these movies. And people always say, you scared doing a horror movie? I'm like, no, it's fake. But that moment I did feel weird.
Here's your footage. Enjoy. See ya? Wouldn't want to be ya.
They didn't know where to go with Joe. I said to Wes, I said, man, really, truly, I find Jamie Kennedy's character dead in my van, I'm out. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I would just leave, man. I'm not gonna stand around here. I'm not that adventurous. Like, that's not who we are. Like, you'll never see a black person get mauled by a bear. Like, we're not gonna try to feed a bear in the wilderness, you know what I mean, just to see if we can do it. Like, we're like, nah, that's cool. The bear's over there, pack up, we're gonna go to the other side of the wilderness, okay? And he said, well, what do you think you should do? I said, I think I should leave. He said, you wanna leave? I said, yeah, I'll leave. You just wanna leave the movie? I'll leave the movie. As opposed to getting killed, can I leave? He goes, how would you leave? I said, cab.
Get a cab?
He said, you want to leave by taxi? I said, yeah. He said, all right, can we get a taxi?
The car scene I loved, and it was, you know, basically just roughed out. I think the cops get killed and whatever. It wasn't crashed, there wasn't pipes, there wasn't, you know, Ghostface knocked out and having to crawl through the whole thing. It was all just kind of made up more or less on the spot, and everybody being able to do it. I mean,
it's amazing how many films are shot like that.
Between the back and the front.
They just kind of, they wing it.
Well, girls were able to just get through there somehow. I was looking at, you know, being, I don't know how old I was at the time, but like, I could never get through that.
Sometimes gold gets created that way, though.
Dancing, because I was a professional dancer, I think to do all the physical stuff and to do the action sequences and stuff, he feels that has helped me, because some of it's very physically challenging. For me, it's not that difficult.
Nev and I got in trouble that day. It was late at night in some small street in Pasadena, And you know, you're doing all these facial expressions in the back of the car, and it's like, look at you. No, look at you. What is that face? And we're laughing. And we couldn't stop laughing in the back. And finally Wes was like, okay, stop. And can we get this? It's like 4 o'clock in the morning. Can we get, we're like, we're sorry. And then we would lock eyes again and start, We shoot a lot of sequences with a real big knife. That's a real knife. It's not a prop knife. So when you hear it in the movies and it makes that shling, that's the real knife coming out. So even when the guy had his arms around my neck and went like this the first time, that was a real knife, and he was that close to me. Now, this is the jacket that Hallie died in on the street, okay? You know, and it's still got like a little bit of the fake blood and stuff on there, see? But, you know, I'm not crazy. You know, wardrobe gave this to me to just kind of remember the experience by it. I just, you know, I never wear it. It's just something that I keep up in a closet. You know, this is basically right where she got stabbed in the chest, and that was it.
Well, I think those scenes, the ending was a lot of fun on stage there.
It was chaotic. I like the physical challenge. I really like doing that stuff.
I remember being really happy that Cotton was vaguely heroic in it.
I didn't get that last scene until we got to the set that day. I didn't know what was going to happen. More purples. It was kind of fun. It's an exciting way to go to work.
We had me as a killer, Cotton as a killer. Like, it was so many different people who could be the killer, and I liked that one about the second one.
No, I never did read the draft that had me as a killer. I'd like to. You got it?
There's 2 killers in Scream 2, Billy's mother and Mickey. Mickey's character was seeking celebrity status for being a serial killer. And I think that, you know, that's kind of unusual at that time that we were pushing those buttons in the movie.
My motive isn't as 90s as Mickey's. Mine is just good old-fashioned revenge.
I don't know about other crazed moms, but at the heart of it, it is out of some misguided want to stand up for the children. Well, I remember those last days, those reveal days, as winding up into more of the action scene. And then came the day of getting shot in the forehead. And I think Wes asked me just not to blink my eyes. And so I'm laying on the ground, and this seemed like 1,000-pound camera is above me. And then there was this big pop. We didn't do it again, so I assume I didn't close my eyes. I didn't flinch.
At one scene, Nev and Laurie Metcalf fell down together and knocked their heads together really loud, and we were really afraid that one of them got a concussion.
That was painful. It hurt both of us.
Sometimes you have to beat the shit out of the material. There were a lot of things about that film that we reconstructed or reordered in editing.
We had an amazing editor, Patrick Lussier, and he and Wes worked together so well. Patrick Lussier cuts to camera. So you can film a scene one day, and the next day you have the scene on set with music and sound effects.
So in Scream 2, Wes had shot specific shots to make the MPA version more violent, so that when we got the NC-17 that we anticipated back from them, we could then cut it back down and make it the version that Wes wanted.
Wes did start saying more blood in the second one. He was like, more blood. He was kind of crazy.
And immediately what we get back is an R rating for the version that was way more violent than we ever wanted. And how they responded to Scream 2 was the opening they felt was an excellent commentary on the nature of horror movies, and that we were being responsible by making that in some way.
I remember my agents calling me the first weekend and both getting on the phone and saying it made $30 million the first weekend, and I said, oh no, is that bad? They're like, no, that's really good. Oh, okay, I had no idea.
And I remember I opened up the New York Times and there was a picture of me in the New York Times. And I remember being like, this is gonna be a big movie.
Mostly people say, you know, oh, I remember you from Roseanne. But every once in a while, somebody, it will be, I know you from Scream.
My mother went to go see that movie in the theater. And I was like, Mom, what did you think of the movie? And she was like, I did not like that last scene. You know, I get shot in the heart. It would really freak my mom out.
Horror is the genre that people look down on all the time. And the reason it continually comes back and is successful is that people sit in the audience and they have a visceral reaction. I mean, they sit there and have a chemical reaction when they watch the screen. And that's not easy to do. To be given a two-dimensional thing and all of a sudden you feel something. And I think it takes a lot to make that happen and to bring that out in an audience.
It made Mad Magazine. To me, that's like the pinnacle. There's a cartoon of myself, my wife, and my father in Mad Magazine. I mean, who can say it?
There he was in the hallway as Freddy.
I try not to do very much of that, but in that case I thought it was appropriate. Linda Blair's cameo came out of the fact that we knew each other, worked together, and really liked each other, so I called her up and said, why don't you come play for us?
Yeah, we got our power back. So I'm back.
Which is hilarious.
I felt terrible that...
Last week, and the guy from TMZ was like, hey, you're in Scream 2.
So we're just finishing the drawing, and then we're going to do the giveaway.
You're in the party scene. I'm like, you need a hobby.
I played the part of a studio executive who was worried about there being too much violence in horror films. And since I had made horror films and had violence in them, the fact that I was the guy who was warning the director not to put too much violence into it was kind of an inside joke.
I think that was Bob. Yeah, Bob loves cameos, because you can say Carrie Fisher's in the movie.
Carrie Fisher, she's like, coming to my trailer. And she's like, they asked me what I wanted. She had a box of Fruit Loops and a box of Cheerios and a carton of cigarettes.
It was fun to have Jay and Silent Bob in for a little blurb at a studio tour, of which I was the studio tour guide. And Wes Craven was in my group.
I didn't approve of every cameo, but it's not up to me.
If you find yourself dealing with an unexpected backstory and a preponderance of exposition, you are dealing with the concluding chapter of a trilogy.
Scream 2, Music of the Heart, and then Scream 3. Between those three films and writing a novel was very, very, very busy.
There was an effort to get it together really soon, but I think a lot of people were putting their foot down and saying, I want a break.
By 3, we had less and less access to Kevin, and was more and more trying to write on the spot with a variety of people writing, and that makes it extraordinarily difficult.
Kevin had a lot of other film commitments. He was the hottest thing on the planet, and he had a TV show to maintain that was extremely important to him.
I could see that he was, sort of exhausted and beat up, and, he owed a certain amount of pages, and he owed a lot of people a lot of things.
And I think that, he had written, again, a very healthy outline, and he had the movie imagined and fashioned out. Bob got impatient with, wanting to wait, and there was conversations about, moving in another direction.
I'm a big fan. If something works, you stick with the same teams all the time because that's where it originated, and also a fan of giving something enough time to really germinate.
I'd just been working as a screenwriter professionally for a couple years. Bob, and he called me and said, listen, I have a situation on one of our movies. I need to know if maybe you could do some quick work.
Okay.
And I said, well, send me the script. And he said, well, there is no script. And I said, oh, okay, well, when are you shooting the movie? And he said, in 6 weeks. What's the movie? And he said, Scream 3. Scream 3? I thought Kevin Williamson was writing that. And he said, so did we. And nobody would have rather seen Kevin writing the movie than me.
Mainly what happened is Bob gave us Aaron Kruger for 2 weeks.
The amazing thing about Aaron is that he would go into a room and close the door, and at the end he'd come out with like 5, 6, 7, 8 pages that were shootable. He has incredible discipline.
Aaron's writing was different. It was going to be effective and everything like that, but because it wasn't Kevin, you felt that the characters were not quite the same.
It was tricky. It certainly took a lot of revisions, a lot of working with Wes, a lot of working with the actors to get close to approximating the voice he had.
And then what happens with Bob is if he meets a writer he likes, he takes him away and puts him on other projects. He gave us a big shock that he said, oh, well, sorry, Aaron's not available for you anymore.
They brought another writer while we were shooting, Lita Kalogridis, who wrote Shutter Island and produced Avatar and everything like that, who's an amazing writer.
I had met with Wes because he'd written a book called The Fountain Society, and I was adapting it for him for Image Movers. We started talking about the first 2 Scream movies because he was, in production on the third. By the end of the lunch, he said, well, we might need somebody in a couple of weeks. Do you want to come on? And I said yes, very politely, and inside it was sort of, I started writing from the minute I got there.
Making Screams has not been easy. In some cases, using every trick and that you've ever learned, every wit in your body to come up with the right scene for the next day.
The writer on the third did a good job of following suit and keeping the tone of the films.
Kevin wrote a treatment, but the treatment was very different than what the movie was. It took place in Woodsboro, but it was against the backdrop of a third stab movie being shot. And it also did involve the killer's ultimate motivation being to lure Sidney back.
I had actually been hired to come back in Scream 3 as the killer.
It wasn't quite clear whether it was really Stu or Stu's twin brother or an actor playing Stu.
I actually was paid to be in Scream 3 and never had a chance to fulfill it.
Columbine happened, and just this shockwave hit, and everybody that didn't like horror films, that was in a position of power, came after the studios.
I do think everybody stopped a minute and said, what's our storyline here? What's our angle? What are we saying?
So there was definitely an awareness that was made pretty explicit to me that the studio was concerned about the sort of moral panic that was in the air at the time about the relationship between violent films and video games and music. It certainly had an effect on us emphasizing comedy in the third film over more graphic kills.
It almost started taking on aspects of what the first movie was kind of playing with in a joke sense. It kind of became a caricature of itself.
You can't blame a film or a horror film as the reason that a person goes out and carries out a tragedy like Columbine. I think it would have been silly to not make these films suddenly because we felt responsible. I don't think we were responsible for that. I wasn't contracted for the third, and yes, I was hesitant about it. I think just for the sake of wanting to be doing other things and wanting to play other roles and worrying also that I would be typecast. You know, you do want to be conscious of that. Scream 3 was actually a bit of a challenge in the sense that I was shooting Drowning Mona, which was a comedy I did with Danny DeVito and Bette Midler, and Casey Affleck. I was doing Scream and I was doing Party of Five, so I was between nights and days and having trouble remembering who I was. I was playing so many characters.
You know, it is her story, so we definitely wanted her to be the heroine of the third movie, and we had to work within this scheduling difficulty.
And Nev just wanted to work on the movie for 3 weeks.
So we had a limited amount of time that we could spend with her.
And certainly you can look at the third film and see how in the first half of the story, Gail and Dewey are really driving it, and she's off on her own parallel storyline that eventually converges. It just felt like it would be wrong to give Sidney any shorter shrift than that.
You're so right. Pop culture is the politics of the 21st century.
3 was a comment on celebrity run amok.
In the first two movies, the killers are blaming Hollywood, not taking culpability for their actions. In the third movie, in a perversely ironic way, we wanted Hollywood actually to be the cause of all of this, and as Hollywood does, to get away with it.
This is Sidney Prescott's mother.
The central kind of reason for making the third film was that you were looping all the way back around to how everything started. And to me, sort of the best way to get there, to how everything began, was to literally make it about that same story, about her mother, and about her mother's behavior, who she was, what she'd done.
And so we thought it would be fun to use that, but also play with it.
The mother of Sidney Prescott, who wanted to be the actress and was an actress in horror movies, gets raped and gets pregnant, gives up her child for adoption.
Sid's relationship with her mother is a big part of who the character is, obviously, and it gives some depth to the character that might not be there if we didn't have that backdrop for her.
One of the first things that I wrote with Wes was the nightmare with the mom coming up to the window.
I was very careful about pulling in kind of my other shtick, if you will, you know, the guy who does the nightmare films, the guy who has dream sequences in his films. I held off doing that for a long time, did it with Sidney's mother in Scream 3, but I've been very sparing with it.
It wasn't so much about
Hey, Dougie.
multiple
Good to
endings
see ya.
of Scream 3 as it was about multiple beginnings. There were so many variations on the opening sequence.
I remember a sequence with an actor named Ben Damon in a car where the killer was calling the actor from inside the trunk of the car. There was an early version in Kevin's original treatment where the opening sequence was Sidney and a friend being attacked at home, and then Sidney ultimately killing the killer and unmasking the killer, and it's some fan, and this drives her into hiding.
When I was working on Scream 3, I was first booked to double David Arquette, and the only thing I saw in my room was a Ghostface outfit. They said, "You're Ghostface." I was like, this is awesome.
It was a very proud moment when I found out that I was going to be killed in the prologue of the film. I think it was my idea. It may not have been the best career move I ever did, you know, because it'd probably be fun to be out there shooting Scream 4 with all the other kids.
There were a couple different versions that we did. I believe there was one where he was climbing up through the skylight. We ended up bringing him down and killing him that way.
You a big 100% Cotton fan?
100% Cotton came out of a joke that we used to have in the cutting room on Scream 2. He used to talk about how he would get his own show and he would call it 100% Cotton.
I love that he'd gone from that kind of relentless appetite for celebrity to being this kind of Jerry Springer talk show host. I thought that that was really great, and that made me want to kill him too.
He was studying Hamlet at the time to do it to public theater. So in between takes, there he was reading Hamlet, and there we were on the set of Scream 3. It was very intense to see Ghostface. You know, at that point, it become such a social phenomenon, this character, this face. Again, I hadn't really done a lot of this genre, so it was great to be working with someone like Wes Craven.
If you're watching this tape, it means, as I feared, I did not survive these killings here at Windsor College.
That kind of hurt, you know, because it was like I was a part of the movies in such a big way, and then I was like dead, and then I got brought back. But it was just kind of sad.
There's something you guys should see.
I was a quirky character actress that was in her teens, and so it was quirky character actors in their teens who Heather Matarazzo. There we go. Perfect.
I thought that was good, real, believable, kind of DNA, right? You know, I mean, she was very good.
Those leopard pants, and I think it was a purple shirt, and Doc Martens, and I think the Doc Martens were actually mine. As soon as everything was on, it was, yep, this is Martha. This is her. Great.
There's a totally different version of the scene where Randy appears on the videotape. One with Randy's sister, with a different actress playing Randy's sister, who was a contortionist, who was doing strange contortions the whole time while you were watching the video. Needless to say, that didn't work quite so well.
I'm not a criminal! I think it was the end of my first season of Felicity. I got this audition, and I believe Aaron or someone had written a couple audition sides, and one was, you know, the friendly guy, the nice guy, and then the other scene was evil, it'd be the killer. You know, I don't know if everybody had to read that. I don't know if they knew who was going to be the killer.
You think it'll help me get work?
They were sort of old hat at that time, and I mean that in the most respectful way. And they were like, there, we've done this character, we good? Great? You were great, you're great, man. And, you know, like, thanks so much. One of my last days was one of the scenes where they rush in and someone's shooting me again and again and again and again. I've got like 13 squibs on me and I'm going crazy and I'm screaming, and we were done. David looked down and he goes, wow, that was intense. Good job. Can I get a coffee?
This is a hero Ghostface costume that was used in Scream 3. It was used for pretty much all the third act of the movie in the mansion. You can see it has all the squib holes. This costume is actually considered one of a kind, very unique, as it's the only costume in any of the movies that has this snap button closure system. All the other costumes in the movies were either pullover or they closed in the middle with Velcro. The reason this costume was made with the buttons was because of the squibs, and they were basically afraid that the explosion of the squibs going off would blow the Velcro open and ruin the shot. So they made this costume specifically for that shot.
There's nobody up here. When I first worked with Wes on Scream 3, I remember the script wasn't finished, and we all went into Courtney Cox's trailer and started talking about what we were going to shoot that day. There was a certain level of chaos, but there was never upset around it, at least from what I saw. Like there was like, how are we going to do this? It was like a creative endeavor. You know, we're going to keep pounding, you know, pushing clay together and, you know, in a sense, make this movie.
The other idea that we did keep from the treatment was the idea of an actress playing Gale Weathers, and who could potentially drive a wedge between the real Gale Weathers and Dewey. That was my favorite idea in the treatment, and so certainly we expanded upon that.
I feel like I am in your mind.
Well, that would explain my constant headaches.
My people said they want to meet you for Scream 3. I wasn't thrilled because, first of all, I didn't want to be scared. I remember having a lot of reservations. They're like, oh, you should just go in and it will be good for your career, it'll give you exposure, and you know, you might have fun. You know, I'm such an actor dork, but this is how I made sense of my part. She's so into her part as Gale Weathers that she knows what Gale is thinking. She's like a ninja, and she's just like almost a shadow of Gale Weathers.
Hold on.
So I think it really kind of shook Courtney, to have this young actress playing her kind of. It was fun to watch.
You know how girls can be nasty, catty, you know, they're bitchy to each other. So it's a really interesting dynamic between Courtney and Parker.
I loved her. Like, she's the girl when we'd work late hours, she'd grab me by the hand and say, okay, come on. And she'd sing a song to me. And it was fantastically bizarre. I loved it. It was that Hollywood, like, oh, this really happens. Like, you're great. And I think she's great in the movie. There's a moment where she jumps into the arms of Warburton, and it's obviously over the top.
I got to hold Parker and sing to her, and became very emotional.
I thought you were supposed to be in Woodsboro.
Well, I'm surprised you thought about me at all.
It wasn't that hard to sort of be angry, because in our personal lives, she was pretty pissed at me. And it was kind of easy for us to get upset with each other. You know, life imitated art quite a few times throughout these films. You know, this funny thing happened because they also did Scary Movie throughout this whole time. So whenever I'm recognized on the street, I'm often recognized as Doofy.
Special Officer Doofy reporting.
Which I would like to say I'm not Doofy. I'm Dewey. And I told that to Bob when we were doing 4. I was like, Bob, you know that they call me Doofy all the time. Thank you very much.
What's your favorite scary movie?
My life.
One of the best surprises of Scream 3 was Patrick Dempsey as the police detective.
Working with Patrick Dempsey was awesome. We became great friends. It's like we were comrades in the movie, and we were, we hung out when we weren't shooting.
Patrick Kane was hired like the day before he started to shoot without having read a full script. And somehow he really found all the nuances of that character and played him in such a compelling, sympathetic yet creepy way that he never managed to make himself not a suspect. At the same time, he always seemed to be a potential romantic lead.
Sydney is the anchor of everything, so everything comes back to her character for me. That, to me, was one of the most fun things to write, especially since as he's a cop, he's an authority figure, you should be able to trust him, but she, push-pull. Boyfriend in the second movie, she should have trusted him.
Patrick Dempsey was a very good fight. He was tough, he was into it, which was great. It makes my job easier.
There's a version of the very end of the film, the final scene, that he's not in case A, he was dead, or B, they didn't want him to appear like he was with Sydney at the end of the film. There's a version, I believe, where he dies in the final fight scene with Roman. There are, many different variations.
I wasn't nervous or scared of Ghostface. I had already worked with Andy Dick on a number of occasions, and I knew that I could handle anything.
Seems like so many of the actors on this show were so willing to be physical and do so much stuff with it.
It was pretty interesting getting the shit kicked out of me. I got in a few good licks before I died.
Courtney put up a good fight. She stopped my foot pretty good on one of the scenes. And other places do get hit during fights.
And when it came time to die, Wes was like, this is really scary.
Wes just said, you've got her cornered, just play with it. I believe I was chasing her
Hey.
up some stairs, and then we
Appreciate
find this
that.
back closet.
I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to be scared and like run up that, run up the staircase. It's like something out of a nightmare. I'm freaking out, I remember only doing it a couple of times. And I was like, that's enough. And I was talking to my therapist at the time, and she's like, sometimes it's fun to be scared.
A lot of the sets are dark. You have your nylon over your face, you have the mask over it, so your vision is impaired. You do sweat profusely in this thing, and the chin is a good sweat reservoir. So we were in the little airstream,
Nice.
fight in there, and in between takes, went to the little bed, sat down, and like, we got a few minutes
Time's
laid
left
back.
on this one. This
All
one is
the sweat poured right back
okay.
on face and everything. And sat right back
We
up.
got under 10 minutes, and then we're gonna do the giveaway, guys.
She really hit me. She really, accidentally punched me. That was, something I'll never forget.
My lawyer, like that.
And there's a lot of discussion about how many killers there should be.
At one point, they were talking about having Emily Mortimer's character, a secondary killer, involved.
Wes told me that they were considering having me be the murderer, or they did a few shots where
I'm sure
I
they
was
told
standing
everybody.
around.
I'm sure they told everybody they were the murderer. That way, no, it would never leak.
I always want Dewey to be the killer. I think he's got a lot of pain and rage that he hasn't dealt with.
That's an expectation, that there are always two killers. So
Mocha latte frap. You like it?
And
That's
it
awesome.
also felt more focused and more personal for Sydney.
Yeah, I do this every Wednesday. Basically, I draw something from start to finish before your eyes, and then we give it away for free to anybody in the world.
Probably knew halfway into my filming of the movie. I remember Marianne.
This
it
is
was sort of a
the
nonchalant
218th giveaway.
We were getting coffee at craft service table, and she said, "You know, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know, sure." What? I have no idea. What are you talking about? She said, "You're the killer." And I thought, "Oh, great." I remember going home and calling whoever was my significant other at the time and saying, like, "I'm the killer." And they were like, "Great." I don't know if it made sense looking back on it.
I think, Sydney's brother could show up. I mean, come on. It was a late thought. I think it was like, what part of the story has like sort of a nodule that we could attach something to that would be interesting?
Would Kevin have done it? I don't know. I don't know if had Kevin written that. Who knows what would have happened. I haven't talked to him about it. For the most part, it was me and the mask.
Oh, no worries.
It's cool just to put it on. You can feel the eyes of everyone look at you because it's hard to not look at. I mean, it sort of draws you in.
There's a scene in the screening room with the producer where Scott Foley brings him out of a closet and he's totally bound up hand and foot.
Lance's hands were tied behind his back, and I was behind him, and I had a knife to his throat.
And Scott Foley dropped him because that was the scene.
Scott just threw him with all of his might. You could see this look of horror in Lance's face, and he just went down like a felled log.
Something happened to his hand. There was a bubble on the back of his hand.
Pretty happy with the way this has
stood
come out.
above this ridiculous gold Rolex wristwatch. It was the biggest thing I'd ever seen. He was so proud of it. He made sure his character could wear it. And he was like, "Jesus, take it easy." He might have broken his hand. I don't know. I felt really bad about it.
Unveil
We were
it,
afraid
I guess.
we thought he was going to kill Scott Foley.
I got my payback for what I did to Lance during that scene. There's a moment where Sydney's behind the bar. And she's got one of those ice picks, a retracting ice pick, and she stabs me in the back with this ice pick. And I had a pad, like a square thing in my back that protect me. And she missed the plastic thing on my back. And these things retract, but it impaled me. You can see it, and that's the take they used. And literally, I was like, ah! It scared the crap out of me. But it was definitely broke skin. I was bleeding, and it was everything Nev has. And Nev is sweet and beautiful, but she's not a little girl. There's some force behind her.
It's wrapped around my board. Hold on.
You're obsessed with her, and you're obsessed with her daughter.
There was frequently conversations during the shoot, particularly by the actors, that it had a slight Scooby-Doo vibe.
Scooby-Doo vibe.
It's driven from the beginning by a pair of mystery investigators who are then joined by Park Posey's character, Jennifer Gurley, and then are joined by Sydney. It's, of the three, the hardest to obscure its Scooby-Doo-esque nature.
I personally love a good Scooby-Doo cartoon, so it's not always a bad thing.
Well, I think the 2-year gap definitely hurt the freshness of what the Scream franchise was.
I think that, Blair Witch really was the beginning of reality television. It was the reality model. The barrier between the audience and the screen was dropped. When you looked and you held up Scream 3 to that idea, it felt created. But I think, Scream 3 still delivered and was a good capper for its journey.
It was a challenge, but also a thrill to be involved with something so iconic as a horror franchise, and unusually for horror franchises, something that kept its same core cast together.
Even when we were shooting it, there was like a fantasy in the air that at some point there would be another movie.
I am tickled pink to be a part of this whole franchise. Couldn't be happier to work with Wes Craven, of all things.
Oh, it did feel good to be.
Thank you, Monster.
It happened to me a lot.
It is quite the honor because it's a horror movie that's going to go down in history.
This was a machine that was running on all cylinders.
We're gonna have some fun with this giveaway too.
The Ghostface, it all worked.
Being able to work with Wes and being part of something that kind of tapped
Get all
into
set up and ready for that.
It's really like a dream come true as a horror fan.
Scream opened the door and allowed all these other movies, these Saws and, Saw whatever number they're on, and allowed them to find an audience.
And I think the bar was raised because both Wes and Kevin saw a way to kind of reflect back what their creation was putting out in the world, recognizing how what you create feeds off the people who see it, who then bring something back to you that escalates the creative process that then goes back out to them.
These movies are really an outlet for people to scream and people to laugh.
The Scream movies for me were a real sort of coming of age as a film editor.
Okay,
Getting to
let
work
me
with
see.
Wes at such a great period in his filmmaking career.
You get to do something that very few directors get a chance to do, which is do a trilogy. that
Unfortunately, there's
actually
just
is
not very
physically
everyone.
changing before your eyes from childhood to adulthood.
Everyone didn't come
Yeah,
back,
look,
which
look
kind
at
of
this.
sucks,
He
but
had a
that's all right.
genius story there, and
I'll miss out on the giveaway. But
know,
that's
this little acorn. What a stupid little thing. No, oak tree, baby. Just grow it.
The impact.
all right. This is pretty much at its end. It's about to end right now. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a giveaway, but we're going to be doing it a little
Obviously, the films have done great.
kind of in the spirit of our Halloween giveaways that we've been doing each
I
month.
think we've made audiences get scared and enjoy themselves.
How you get in on the wheel is I'm going to give you guys a word. You're going to put that in chat, and I will enter you in. There we go. It's over. Yay. We're done. Perfect. Okay. Let me turn that off. Put the word stab in chat. Make it somewhat easy. Put the word stab in chat. I'll add you to the wheel. For jumping in on the giveaway, there are 3 rules. One is you need to be you need to claim the drawing within 36 hours. In other words, you need to get a hold of me either via Twitter or via my Discord or email. Any of those 3 will work. You need to be 18 years or older. The third caveat is that you need to be at minimum a follower on my Patreon. My Patreon has a free tier. In other words, you don't have to spend a cent, but you do need to follow it. So you do need, those are the 3 things. You will get contacted either via your channel name or through Discord or through Twitter, whatever I can find, or even here in chat, letting you know that you've won and that you've got 36 hours to do so. Those 3 things. And I basically cover shipping. I cover packaging and I ship it anywhere in the world. There we go. Okay, we're going to spin the dice now. But sorry about that, guys. Here we go. Let's spin it. We got 11. All right, let's get some theme music going. So what we're going to do, guys, we're going to spin the wheel. We're going to do an elimination wheel. In other words, we're going to get down to 1 winner. It's a battle royale. Each time your name gets pulled up here, you're going to be asked a trivia question. If you get the answer wrong, you are eliminated. If you get the answer right, you get to continue. And what determines right or wrong answers, you ask? Well, it's going to be based on how many times you're on the wheel. That's all right. All right, here we go. Let's frickin' go. Let's get some music going too. Best of luck to everyone. Let's frickin' go, shall we? Here we go. You got Renzo Scriber, which was actually last week's winner. Holy crap, Renzo. All right. Renzo. Here's a question for you. What was the name of the roller coaster built by Stephen Price in the remake of House on Haunted Hill? She has no idea. The answer is Terra Incognita. You've been eliminated. We remove her from the wheel, guys. All right, here we go. Keep it spinning. We got Comtech. Comtech answers the phone, and he gets asked a question. Who kills Frank as he turns and reanimates into a zombie in Dawn of the Dead? He answers. Oh, sorry. This is D. Live Grayson. My bad. I said Comtech. D. Live Grayson answers. Kenny? No, the answer is Kenneth. D. Live Grayson gets stabbed. He's removed from the wheel. Let's spin it. We got Stephanie Thompson. Stephanie Thompson answers the phone. She gets asked the question. Who played the evil Dracula in 1992 movie Bram Stoker's Dracula? She answers, Gary Oldman. That is correct. You get to continue. Let's call another victim. The phone rings, and we're going to ask MD Witt a question. The question is, who was the only survivor of the deadly prom night in the 1976 version of Carrie? And the answer she gives is Sue? That's correct. You get to continue. Let's call another victim. Oh, it looks like we're calling MD Witt right back. MD, I must ask you another question. Who played the father turned killer Jack Torrance in The Shining? MD goes, that's easy. That's Jack Nicholson. That's correct. You get to continue. Lynn's in Job Paranormal. We're gonna have to ask you a question. Let's look on up. Lynn's in Job Paranormal. Let me get to a question here. What is the name of the killer doll from the Child's Play series? The answer is Chuck? Oh, very close, Linz. The answer is Chucky. You've been eliminated. Like that. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Chucky, Charles Lee Ray. No. All right, here we go. Spin it to win it. Oh, we got Dougie, 1872. All right, Dougie gets asked the question on the phone. In which century was the 2015 film The Witch set? He answers, the 1700s? Oh, I'm sorry, that is incorrect. It's the 1600s. He gets removed and stabbed! Or stabbed and removed. We must call another victim. Oh, we're calling up Comtech. Comtech answers the phone. Comtech, do you like scary movies? In what U.S. state does the infamous Chainsaw Massacre take place? Comtech's like, that's an easy one. Texas. That's correct. You get to continue. Let's call another victim! The phone rings, and Stephanie Thompson answers. All right, Stephanie, let's find you a question here. John Carpenter directed what famous horror movie? Stephanie goes, that's easy. It just happened yesterday. It's Halloween. That is correct. You get to continue. Let's call another victim. Oh, Stephanie, you get to double answer. A double answer. All right, Stephanie. What legendary film star played the Phantom of the Opera in the 1925 silent film? Stephanie turns and says, Lon Chaney? Oh my gosh, that's correct. You get to continue. My God. All right, we're whittling it down, guys. We're whittling it down. We've got the lovely Elizabeth. All right, Elizabeth. Actor Bela Lugosi played what famous movie monster? Elizabeth thinks for a moment and goes, that's easy. Dracula. Well, Elizabeth, I'll kill you later. You get to continue. Let's go. We call another victim. Oh, I'm redialing Elizabeth. Elizabeth from Kick. All right. What horror movie series features a killer named Leatherface? Elizabeth says that's easy. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's right. All right. You get to live this time, but I might call you back later. Let's go. Oh, we got Maybe Q Chris on the phone. He answers very tentatively. All right, Maybe Q Chris. Which film did Stephen King direct himself? Maybe Q Chris thinks for a moment and doesn't recall Stephen King ever directing. Time's up. The correct answer was Maximum Overdrive. I stab you, and you're dead. Let's keep going. I'm gonna call somebody else. Who's gonna pick up the phone? Code word Havoc. Code word Havoc. Oh boy, what should we do? All right. Code word Havoc. In which horror film do a group of American students get involved with a Swedish cult? She answers Hostel. That is incorrect. The movie is called Midsommar. I stab you, and you've been eliminated. Let's call another victim. Monster J. All right. All right. In which country was the 2005 film Wolf Creek set? She's racking her brain. Racking her brain. Wolf Creek? I don't know where that's set. Oh my God. Your time's up. The correct answer was Australia! I stab! 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 Let's call someone else. Oh! We're calling Monster J back again? All right. All right. Name the monster that appears as a clown in Stephen King's It. Time's up! The answer is Pennywise! You've been removed! Ha! We spin! We stab! We call another person! Stephanie! Oh, we gotta get us questions for Stephanie here. All right. Stephanie? In which sci-fi horror film that has a tagline that says, "In space, no one can hear you scream"? Stephanie turns and says, Alien. Fine, you get to live on. We are whittling down my Rolex. Who's gonna die? Gamercam's gonna die. All right. In which 2014 Australian horror film features a scary creature in a children's book? Gamercam? He has no answer. The correct answer is Babadook. You've been stabbed. Let's call another victim. Oh, Danielle. Ha 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 ha. All right, Danielle. Let's see. What question should we ask you? Who played the lead role in the 2012 film Sinister? I don't hear anything on the other line. Your time is up. The answer is Ethan Hawke. I stab you. You've been eliminated. Ha ha. We keep it spinning. We got MD Wit on the phone. Oh, MD. Oh, MD. Let's see if you can answer this question correctly. Who stars as Ripley in Alien? MD says, Sigourney Weaver? Correct! You get to breathe once more. Let's spin the Rolodex. Let's get a phone number of my next victim. Oh, haha, mocha, latte, frappe. My goodness. All right, in The Daily Show, host Jon Stewart played what part in The Faculty? The answer. I don't hear anything. The answer is Professor Furlong. You've been stabbed. 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 Let's call another victim. Oh, am I calling Eric? Eric Walker, E13. In which horror series does the character Pinhead appear? Eric doesn't watch scary movies. He has no answer. Hellraiser! You've been stabbed! Let's continue. We've got Black Cat from the D-Live. All right. Black Cat. Who played the vampire Lestat in Interview with a Vampire? Black Cat answers, Brad Pitt? No, I'm sorry. It was Tom Cruise. You've been stabbed. Eliminated! Let's call another victim! Stephanie! The Stanley Kubrick horror movie, The Shining, is based on a book by what author? Stephanie says, Stephen King? That is correct. I will stab you later. We call another victim! We've got... Who is it? Ace Hardcore. Ace Hardcore. Ace Hardcore, I have a question for you. In the film called The Reanimator, what story is based on? What author? What is this story based on for this movie, The Reanimator? Ace Hardcore is silent on the other line. The correct answer is Lovecraft! We spin the Rolodex of numbers. Who is going to answer my question of death? MD Wit, pay from Patreon. Okay. MD Wit, what corporation owns the mining vessel infected with an alien menace in the movie Alien? MD Wit says, Wayland Yutani? Ah, fine, you're right. We'll have to come back to you and stab you later. Ooh, we only have 15 names left on the wheel. 15 names to kill! Let's call one of these names up. Pablo Pupu Escobar from D-Live. All right, Pablo. What town is attacked by birds in the Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds? Pablo stammers. I didn't think you were going to go that far back. The answer is Bodega Bay. You've been stabbed. Let's call another victim. MD Witch, I come back to your number yet again. MD, on the topic of Alien, what was the name of the ship where the alien breaks loose in the movie Alien? MD. It's on the tip of her tongue. She doesn't know what it is. What's it called? Time's up! It was called the Nostromo. Goodbye, MD. I stab you! MD has been eliminated. Let's call another victim. Let's call another victim! Stephanie Thompson from Patreon. All right, Stephanie. All right, what causes Nada to see aliens in their true form in the movie They Live? Stephanie kicks back her head and says, sunglasses. Ah, that is correct. That is what allowed them to see the aliens. We'll have to come back and stab you. But for now, I'm gonna call this number. Yummy the Vampy. Oh boy, do I have a question for you. What tool does Lionel use to dispatch a zombie in Dead Alive? Yummy has no idea. The answer is a lawnmower. I'm sorry, Yummy. I'm going to have to stab you now. Stab, stab. All right, we call another victim. Oh, we got Elizabeth here on the phone. All right, Elizabeth. What is the species name of the aliens in the film Alien? What are they called? Elizabeth answers with a xenomorph. That is correct. We'll have to come back to you. Let's spin it. Let's call someone else. Someone who doesn't have a good answer. Oh my gosh, we've got Stephanie on the line. Oh, Stephanie. In the 1928 film, The Fall of the House of Usher. It's based on a story by what writer? Stephanie racks her brain. Oh, it's on the tip of her tongue. She doesn't know what it is. Oh, it's too late. The answer is Edgar Allan Poe. Nevermore you will feel my blade. Blah! You've been eliminated. Let's call another victim. Elizabeth. Oh, aliens is not your thing, eh? All right, I got a question for you then. The design of the alien in the Aliens, or Alien, was done by what surrealist artist? Elizabeth answers, H.R. Geiger? Damn it! That's correct! All right. 8 names left on the bloody wheel. Let's make it more bloody. Let's call another victim.
Someone just subscribed to your channel. How are you going to react? How?
Hey, congrats. Thank you, MD Wit. Elizabeth, we're calling you back. All right, Elizabeth. Actress Linda Blair is best known for starring in what horror movie? Elizabeth immediately answers, The Exorcist. She knows that film very well. Fine. 7 names left. Oh, we get back to Elizabeth again. All right, Elizabeth. I have another question for you. Who directed The Shining? Elizabeth says, oh, you answered this earlier. You said Stanley Kubrick. Yes, that's correct. All right. 6 numbers to call. Pieces. I've been waiting for pieces. All right. Pieces? Elvis Presley teams up with a man who claims who's going to fight a mummy in Bubba Hotep. Whom is it? Who's gonna fight Bubba Hotep? The answer was John F. Kennedy. I have to stab you now. Open wide. Okay. We have 5 names left on the wheel here. We've got Comtech with 2 entries. We've got Elizabeth with 2 entries. And we've got Mystic Angel Christina. Best of luck. Let's spin it. Who am I calling next? I'm calling Comtech. Comtech answers the phone. All right, Comtech, what movie monster once did an interview on the Arsenio Hall show? He's not gonna get this one, folks. Comtech answers, Jason Voorhees? Oh my God, he got it right. 4 chances to win. Let's call our next victim. Mystic Angel Christina. What name did Reagan have for her imaginary friend who turns out to be a demon in The Exorcist? Mystic Angel does not have a response. The answer is Captain Howdy. Mystic, I cut you now. All right. We have a battle, 2 against 1. We've got Comtech versus Elizabeth. Best of luck. We might have a winner now. Let's find out. Oh my gosh, by order of elimination. All right, Comtech. Who is Carrie's domineering mother in the movie Carrie? Comtech can't remember. The answer is Margaret White. Comtech has been eliminated. just to make it official. This is not often we get two of the same name at the end. Elizabeth. Congratulations. You're a grand winner. Well done with those answers. All right, just to make it official, we're gonna get you answer a question here. All right. Who stars as Evelyn in the 2018 film A Quiet Place? Elizabeth answers Emily Blunt. Boom, it's official. Congratulations, Elizabeth Flood. You have won the artwork. I know Elizabeth hasn't won in a long time, guys. Congratulations, Elizabeth. You've got yourself a nice artwork of Ghostface from Scream. Awesome. I apologize, guys, that was my my part 2 to my stream, and I appreciate everybody that was brand new that showed up and took that plunge and entered into the wheel. We do this every week, every Wednesday, normally at about 2 p.m. This I had my power went out. I don't have any excuses, but that's my excuse. My power went out. I had to do a second part here. Again, I want to thank you guys for joining me for the stream. Thank you guys for the donations. Thank you guys for joining me on Patreon. Thank you guys for joining me on the different channels and representing. I can't do this without you guys. I appreciate it. Again, big hearts to you guys. That's not how I want to go out, though. I want to go out with a song. And I'm going to play a song for you guys. And then we're going to go host a channel, all right? I really appreciate you guys, big time. Aw, thank you for the love.
ELFSAR, I hope you like ice cream because you got one.
All right.
ELFSAR, I hope you like ice cream.
Much love to everybody. May all your hits be criticals, your adventures be legendary, and I will catch you guys on the next one, all right? Take care, everybody.
Hello, Sydney. You wanna play a game? Let's play a life or death game. Answer my questions correctly, or I'm going balls to the wall with my razor sharp blade. 911, there is someone in my house. I think they have a gun. They go damn fit in my spouse. I think I just said them, but I don't know whereabouts. I'm gonna try and run. I'll be seeing me on his path. I'm fighting for my life, step battered and blood soaked. Please let me go. Please let me go. No, your front door's locked, but your back door's not. People aren't as careful. Last I wanna fight, I've been outside watching you film TikToks. Be dancing in the mirror like she's not hot. It's time for a game, let the girls begin. I'll interrupt your evening when it ring. Hello, bitch, ready for questioning? Current answers mean your husband thinks spring thing. I know you watch Sharon Fraser next on YouTube, so tell me which horror is the reason that he blew. Pennywise, it? Yes, that's correct. Now tell me what other films did they do? The Avengers, every horror under the sun. Good, and who was the one that wrote 11? I don't know, Aaron, I bet. No, it's me, Edge, now no one forget. Let's play a life or death game. Answer my questions correctly, or I'm going balls to the wall with my razor sharp blade. 911, there is someone in my house. I think they have a gun. They go damn fit in my spouse. I think I just said them, but I don't know whereabouts. I'm gonna try and run. I'll be seeing me on his path. I'm fighting for my life. Yeah, I wonder what it is. Hereditary, wow, that's pretty scary. I bet they do it freak if you knew someone was staring. Ding dong, bench up, I'm watching your night. Let's play a game. I color run for your life. You trip and you fall and you fall into a wall. I would lie. I was hoping for a little more fight. What would life be without the psychopath scenes? Know how I got these stars? Villains make the movies. Billy said films don't make psychos sit. They just make the psychos a little more creative. But I'm not a psycho, I'm an artist painting, and I gotta stay relevant on YouTube with something. Look at you, you're tripping. And all I did was take the tip in. Let's play a life or death game. Answer my questions correctly, or I'm going balls to the wall with my razor sharp blade.
911, there is someone in my house. I think they have a gun. They golden bed in my spouse. I think I just said that, but I don't know whereabouts. I'm gonna try and run. Have they seen me on his bounce? I'm fighting for my life. Step better than blood soaked. Please let me go. Please let me go.
No. Okay, good shoot, guys. That scene done. We're gonna need Katie and Etch for the final stabbing scene in the back. So, Ack, if you can get back in the chair and crook time up, I'll get the cameras. Wait, what are those lights? Why are police here? We had some calls from people on the street about guys running around in masks with knives. Oh, we were shooting a video. I'm sorry, one was in costume when he arrived. We're pretty much done. Is it gonna be a problem? No, just make sure you keep it inside. Okay, thank you, officer. Have a good night. Edge, is that you? Is that a real name? One makes a killer, half or more. He's turned serial, no regret, no remorse. His face on the news screen, he's got notoriety. Films like Scream make the killers a celebrity. Ghostface is anyone, everyone's a suspect. How well do you know your best friend? You better check. Are they a sociopath that'll stab you in the back and twist a knife like a corkscrew as they laugh?